Right, people, here we go. Championship predictions. Come on, who wants a bit of... Huh? I'm betting that. I'm betting that. I'm betting that. Let's go. So, it's that time of the season. 2023-24 championship predictions. Now, probably the smart thing for me to do right off the bat is just... because it can get quite tense, can't it, these predictions. So I just want to apologise to absolutely nobody. No one. It's all just a bit of fun. Not for me, though. I'm dead serious. And if I say my team's finishing above your team, that's right. It's happening. And I've probably got an agenda against your team. Let's go. Importantly, if you are one of those people who get really annoyed by predictions, then don't be a QPR fan, first and foremost, because you won't like the other predictions that seem to be knocking about. Secondly, get involved in the comments, because that will change stuff. If you're angry, be angry in the comments. Engagement. Smash that like button as well. There is an elephant in the room, I know. Where are you going to put QPR? They are on a bit of a tricky spot right now. Well, you will find out soon enough. In 24th spot, Huddersfield. There's a conversation that needed to be had with me and myself. And I had to decide, am I the thought through, unbiased, journalist dude, or am I backing my boys? I'm backing my boys. And I do not regret that in any way, shape or form. So Huddersfield Town, you're finishing 24th. Okay. The reason for it, the championship has such cycles in it. And what's actually really funny when you're going through your lineups and your predictions for this, and I'm moving through it, for some of these guys, probably QPR too, right? If it's not even about the situation right now, it's how good will the next manager be? Because 45% of the managers that start this season will not finish this season. And one of those, I think, will be Neil Warnock. I feel like, as magical as he is, time and again, I think he's probably running out of steam. Without having that clear target of, you know, I've got to keep them up, and that ego boost that it provides, will he have the energy? If they start well, I might be massively wrong again. And I get it. He is the messiah at Huddersfield Town. And this is blasphemy. And again, the comment section is there for you. Feel free to go after me. I get it. But I need to put enough teams beneath Queen's Park Rangers for them to not go down. So what would you do? Huddersfield Town, 24th. I'm also fully aware that Huddersfield Town time and again just like go playoffs when everyone's put them to go down. But I needed to find 3 teams. In 23rd place, Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, again, don't say it with a smile, because I actually do have a soft spot for Sheffield Wednesday, because I went to uni up there. And what a story it was, them going up. But there's a few things that are obviously a problem here. The ownership and the precarious nature of which he creates is not a good situation for this team. The recruitment that they've put together has not been impressive enough. I also feel like there is a reliance to a point on the likes of Barry Bannon. And I think the final thing is that you've got a new manager who seems like a nice guy, and I don't think is a bad manager. But in that group, you have the oldest squad in the championship. And that's not a bad thing. But you've got a lot of players there that I think could get very annoyed very quickly, and were probably huge fans of Moore and are probably still pretty upset. So all those pieces together, add to that the pressure of being and playing at Hillsborough with that crowd, because it's an enormous club, and I think it could get pretty ugly pretty fast. And I think the quality isn't totally there, and I think they'll finish in 23rd. Again, the championship is always all over the place, and crazy things happen. And so I always try to have a bit of fun with my championship predictions, because there will be some odd ones. And if you can catch that one, you look really good. Of course, you will look bad if it goes the other way. And that's what's happening with my 3rd pick here. This is a rogue one. I don't think I've seen anyone else do it. And again, you could put QPR in the bottom 3. I get that you can put QPR in the bottom 3, but I'm not doing it. Not on this channel. Not on this ship. No. So I'm going to go for Preston North End. The reason I'm going for Preston North End is it feels a little bit jaded there. They've kind of been in mid-table obscurity for quite some time. I know that's because they sort of behave correctly. They do have some okay players there. Someone like Daniel Johnson feels like a solid loss for them. I feel there's a lack of goals there. Will Keane's come in, who's, again, a solid player, and it might be fine, and it might be another solid season, but I don't see them doing well. I feel like there's a lack of goals in that team now, and I could see things, from what I've read, turning a little bit ugly. I could see Ryan Lowe, who, again, I really enjoy as a coach. I think I like him as a manager, but I've seen a lot of murmurings from Preston North End fans where they're not really happy. Even someone like Calvin Ramsey, who's an amazing signing for them, is a fullback. Now, again, I'm going to use a lot of my own experiences with this. Someone like Ethan Laird, he is this unbelievable player who's come to QPR, so they'll be fine. Doesn't work like that. It's about the whole team, and I just wonder if they've got enough goals. You've got Frokjer Jensen, who's come in as an attacking midfielder. Maybe he'll hit the ground running, but I think people are missing Preston because maybe they don't have the same spotlight on them a lot of the time. It doesn't feel right for me, Preston, this year. And yeah, I might be massively wrong, but I'm going to put them third bottom. 24th, well, of course, now it has to be Rotherham. Rotherham, I'm going to put 21st. Yeah. I thought it did brilliantly to stay up, but I think what's so difficult this year is that in terms of like real financial mire, like the Readings, the Derbys, Sheffield Wednesday previously, kind of now too, I guess, those teams aren't really knocking about. And so I think that might make life a lot harder. The Championship is so difficult this year. To stay up is an achievement. I think if you can survive this season, then you've done well. Rotherham, for me, I think, look, Hugo is always a problem, but losing Ogbeni, losing Wes Harding, feels like they are always going to be there and thereabouts. I think they'll just about survive because I think they've got a lot of good components there. I like Taylor as a manager as well. I thought he came into a really difficult situation with Warne, of course, leaving and did really well to get over the line. And I think they will get over the line, but only just this year. Okay, the time hath cometh. Queen's Park Rangers to finish a beautifully safe 20th position. Look, cards on the table. I'm incredibly nervous about the situation that we find ourselves in. And I think it would be absolutely valid and fair for you to put QPR down in 24th. A few things I do want to sort of straighten out. First of all, the anger at the ownership is a funny one because, and the fact that like the major shareholders just sold their shares, again, he's not really been of use. So you can't have it both ways. People going, oh, he's left. Well, that means what we're in an absolute disaster zone. He's been rubbish. So he's off. And that's that. Les Ferdinand leaving. That was something that our fans have wanted. Now, should he have gone? There's been rumours that he didn't want to be there due to Gareth Ainsworth's playing style. Gareth Ainsworth himself has come out and said that's absolute rubbish. So you can kind of wipe that clean as well in terms of a negative that I'm hearing a lot of people saying. What is completely valid and fair is the fact that we were woeful last season. We have solid players there. I'm incredibly concerned about the lack of depth that we have in our team. And sorry, the final thing was that Stefan Johansson's gone. You've lost your captain. He was rubbish for us as well last year. So we have some talent in the squad. And Ainsworth is trying to bring in players who obviously are cheap because we have no money, and he uses that in every single interview as well. He's talking about our FFP and it's just about survival this year. I am very concerned about the mindset of which we're going into this season, but I think it's a realistic mindset, but it's one that I think could lead to toxicity and could lead to us massively crumbling. If Gareth Ainsworth gets to the end of this season, he's done an incredible job, and I really hope that something, somewhere, somehow clicks. And if Ainsworth does have to go and someone else comes in, could be Neil Warnock by January, you know, crazier things have happened. There is a solid amount of quality in that squad, but we still need reinforcements. So I'm concerned, and I understand why everyone's putting it down in the bottom three. I ain't doing it. 19th, I'm going to go for Hull City. The reason I'm going for Hull City is because what's funny about them is if you squint at their squad, it looks like an amazing squad because you've got Javier Simmons, who's on, I think, on loan maybe from Chelsea. You've got Adama Traore, not that one. You've got Estupinian, who, yeah, don't worry about that one. You've got Estupinian, but not that one, again, as well. So you've got some good players there. And actually players like Ozan Tufan as well. I'm just looking at the squad in front of me here. And Liam Delap coming in. Now, Liam Delap has pedigree and has a bit of hype about him, but we've seen a lot of those strikers over the years at lots of championship clubs, and they've not really done anything. He really needs to step up now if he wants to have the career that he is hoping to have. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be kind of non-existent in the mid-table area. I do not see Rosenior surviving the season. And again, I think we need to be quite cutting with this when it comes to the managers. And I know this will upset fans, and I get that, and I apologise. But let's be honest, managers change. You go on a 6-game run where you haven't won, you're out. And Leroy Rosenior, what I can see happening here is it's a squad that's got enough quality to stay up overall, but is one where they'll go on a bad run, they'll then lose their manager, they'll then sort of pick up from that, and there won't be that sort of clear consistency and stability in terms of building something together. By the way, I do really like Rosenior. I think he's an incredibly intelligent man, but can he deal with that squad and with everything that's going on at Hull City when they might just sack him and bring in some Turkish dude? I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. 18th spot, they could, and actually I think they're the bookies' favourites to go down with Rotherham, but I put Plymouth in 18th. The reason I put them in 18th is I think they'll kind of utilise the momentum. I think they'll be very strong at home this season. Also, Schumacher has utilised every last drop of his sort of, scouse negotiation tactics to bring in the likes of Lewis Gibson and Lewis Warrington as well. 2 solid signings for them. Also, Morgan Whittaker, to be able to get him. Bally Mumba, who I put in my one to watch for Norwich, and turns out he's gone to and is staying full-time at Plymouth. Absolutely fantastic signing that gives them real flexibility as someone who can play on both flanks as well. I think Schumacher, with the energy that he has and the good feeling that is there with them and the amount of points that they got last year, I think that will help them massively. They could crumble a little bit because they conceded so many goals last season for a team that got the points that they got. That said, it's probably being a little bit cruel. I think they're on the crest of a wave a little bit, and I think they'll be absolutely fine this season. In 17th, I've gone for Cardiff City, the Bluebirds, or the Bluebirds. Manager's called Baloo. He'll be one that won't last the season as well, by the way, just to be clear. Is anyone making a list of this? I quite like the makeup of the squad. I like the forward options, Callum Robinson, Carlan Grant, who's had a poor season last year, but I think there's goals in there at this level. And if he can have a bit of a connection with someone like Aaron Ramsey, who needs to play in a 10, my biggest question mark over Cardiff is the setup of the team, like the structure of the team. You need to get Ramsey in as a 10. That is the position that he needs to play, because the Championship is a high-level league. And I know he played at Nice, but he played in a double pivot there. Needs to play as a 10 because the quality is there to create for the likes of Carlan Grant. You've also got a lot of players that are kind of out of favour at Cardiff City. It's players like Romain Sawyers, who is a talented player. Not out of favour, but Joe Rawls is a good player as well. It's the defensive positions that I'm a little bit concerned with, and the structure of that. I think they need a couple of more players to come in to allow them to play a back 4, to allow Ramsey to play as a 10, and then you might see a team that actually is a bit of fun. But I would be amazed if Baloo survived the season, because I've never heard of him. Maybe I'm being harsh. I am, aren't I? I'm being harsh. 16th spot, and another team that could kind of implode this season, because I think there is pressure from the fan base, or there could be pressure from the fan base if they start to fall apart. Blackburn. I don't like the front line. I don't think there's a lot of quality there. I like the midfield. I think that's great. Adam Wharton, likes Lewis Travis. Dolan, I think, is due a big season at some point. Sigurdsson has come in as well, who I think could do well. Schmodix is always lively and has quality, can score goals. And the defence is all right. But I'm struggling with the front line. I'm struggling with the goals there. And it feels like with the problems with the ownership and feelings, the rumours that are coming out that, all is not well financially. You can imagine someone like Thomason looking to make a move if there's a better job that can be available, and it may well be available pretty quickly. That is football, isn't it? So I wonder if it's going to be a turbulent one for Blackburn. And I think 16th, if they can get out of the season in 16th, that's not actually the worst case scenario with all that's going on there. 15th spot, I've gone with Swansea. Now, a lot of people have kind of given Swansea a bit more credit, and they're going with Duffman. Duff is the new manager, taking over from Russ Martin. I think such a change in style, and even if Duff kind of steps towards the Russ Martin way, it's, Russ Martin is so extreme in the way that he plays, and this squad's kind of been built in that image. So I think there's going to be some growing pains there. They've got a lot of good players. I like the idea of Jerry Yates. I think he could be a good striker for Swansea and for Duff, who's going to be that little bit more direct. They've also got some exciting young players that will be interesting to see if they'll get their opportunities there and some solid championship pros as well. Lost a couple of key players, and Joel Perreault, there's been a lot of talk about him going. If he does go, I don't think that'd be the worst thing as long as they're able to invest correctly, which I wouldn't be surprised if Duff did that. I think they'll be mid-table, absolutely fine, but I don't think they'll be knocking on the door. 14th spot, I think for casual fans of the Championship, you would expect Watford to be much higher, but not for me. They have lost a lot of players, a lot of the names that you'll remember from the last 5-6 years. The Tom Cleverleys, the Ismail Assars, the Cabasellis, those kind of players, loads of them have gone, as have some of the big loan signings for last season. Last season was an absolute car crash. The incomings don't feel very exciting to me at all. Jamal Lewis, Jake Livermore, Thomas Ince, okay, they're all good, they're all competent, but are they going to energise this squad? Are they going to excite this squad? Jake Livermore, he may lead this squad, but is he going to lead them with an energy that they need? I'm not sure. It feels like he's a bit of a dated midfielder at this stage of his career. And with Valérien Ismaël coming through the door, he's a hard taskmaster, and he feels like a guaranteed car crash, if I'm honest. It just doesn't feel right. I might be totally wrong on this one, but the style of football I don't think Watford fans will enjoy, and I think that will get to him, and it will get him biting the bullet pretty quickly like we normally see with Watford. Next up, Birmingham City. I think Birmingham City are going to have a bit of fun this year. I think finally it's not going to be the doldrums of previous season. You've finally got new ownership, and they've put their hands in their pockets already with some important players. And the wing-backs in particular, I think, are going to be a really key part of it. One must beware players that were rubbish at QPR. And Tyler Roberts and Ethan Laird are two players with loads of talent, especially Ethan Laird. And maybe in a better environment will totally thrive. But Ethan Laird kind of lost his way and got injured pretty quickly. Tyler Roberts, a similar scenario. So it might be one where the shiny things might not totally work. I'm intrigued to see Miyoshi, an attacking midfielder from Royal Antwerp. And I think overall, in terms of the players that you've lost, yes, Tahith Chong and Joe Bellingham are big losses. But after that, they're just players that you probably don't want anymore. And I think it's always a good sign when you see that they're going to players in lower leagues or lesser clubs as well. So for Birmingham, I think it will feel good this year. I think there could be some more incomings as well. Lee Buchanan, another one I'm really excited to see. And actually a young team as well. Sariki Dembele could be really, really impressive for Birmingham as well this year. I think they'll have a few flirts with the playoffs, and then we'll probably go, oh, we're safe and we're not going up, and middle out in 13th spot. Here's one I might be completely wrong with. I'm going to go with Norwich City in 12th position. Now, the Norwich City squad is solid. It's good. And there's a lot of players there that I'm intrigued to see if they're still there come September 1st. What I would say, and the reason why I haven't got them in the playoffs, is I don't see a 20-25 goal a season striker. Adam Adar, Josh Sargent, Zolis, Ashley Barnes, they need a little bit more. Marcelino Nunez and Gabriel Sara are really exciting players for Norwich, and I think will allow them to be probably in the top half. I'm being a little bit harsh on them. The centre-back positions I'm a little bit confused with. You've got Grant Hanley, Ben Gibson, Shane Duffy, but also Omobama Delia as well in there. So again, you've got solid names. Jack Stacey, Sam McCallum as well, I think is good at this level. So it's a good squad. There's some good players in there. It's just, can it click for them? It could do, and I'm probably being a little bit stingy with my prediction for them, but I'm going to go with 11th. Going against the grain a little bit with this next one, 11th spot, I'm going to go for Ipswich Town. I just feel like everyone's kind of going, oh, Sunderland did that, so Ipswich will do that. And I'm not sure it's as simple as that. This is a very high-end championship season, as I've said a couple of times. I do really like some of the signings. Amari Hutchinson, I think, is going to be really good fun to watch this year. I think you've got a lot of good players there, and the defence, and they had such a great season last year. And I think Kieran McKenna is a really exciting manager. George Hurst is a bagsman. Nathan Broadhead, I love his movement. Freddie Ladapo causes problems. Connor Chaplin causes problems. And by the way, the Ipswich Dream Teams on this channel is absolutely hilarious. It's with Connor Chaplin and Freddie Ladapo. So if you are a Championship fan and you enjoy silliness, then go and watch that video for me, because it is so, so good. Especially if you're an Ipswich fan, you have to go and see it. I just don't think that midfield's as good as that Sunderland midfield. And that is why I'm not going to put them in the playoff places this year. Probably next year, but not this year. In 10th spot, I'm going to go with Millwall. Millwall, incredibly steady, stable club. Gary Rowett has been the manager for, I think, 4 years now, which is absolutely unheard of in the Championship. He's done fantastically well. And I think the reason he's done so well is set-piece XG and set-piece goals. They were top of the Championship last season, and I think that will continue this year. Something that's always a real pillar of what Gary Rowett wants to do, and so I think because of that, Millwall won't drop too far. But can they do better when it comes to open play? They're in the sort of bottom half, just about, when it came to open play XG, and I think that's my problem with them. Is there enough goals in this team? I think there's enough tenacity, and I think their baseline, the bad performance from a Millwall side, is not that bad because they are so solid and so well drilled. Zion Fleming, a really exciting player for them. Like I say, George Honeyman, Duncan Watmore, you know what you're going to get there. And I'm intrigued to see how Kevin Nesbitt does this year. He's in my one-to-watch video and he's my pick for Millwall. Spoiler alert, a lot of solid Championship players in there. A lot of good players in there. Wes Harding coming in as well. But I think they'll just miss out due to the calibre of the Championship. At the time of recording, I'm going to stick West Brom in 9th position. It's a really strong squad. They need to find their feet. But I think with Corberán, you've got a really good manager there that could really create a bit of a siege mentality with a lot of problems occurring with the ownership right now. The only concern for me and why they might drop down a few is losing more players. And at the moment, they need a striker. But at the same time, they're kind of only a striker away for me, if they didn't lose any other players, from having a squad that should be knocking about the playoff positions. So because of that and the fact that they might not get that striker, they might lose one or two of those quality pros in the Championship, I've put them down in 9th position. Oh, by the way, I've done a Dream Teams as well with West Brom, with Ajayi and Daryl DK. Also, a great bit of debate, so go check out the video. All right, thank you. Let's carry on, shall we? Yeah, okay, well, let's just not... I'm just saying watch the video and then we don't have to go through this again. Oh, by the way, we did one on QPR as well. Ilias Chair and Chris Willock's actually a banger as well. Should we carry on? We should carry on, shouldn't we? 8th spot, more improvement for Bristol City. I think, look, either way, they're either going to have Alex Scott or they're going to have a whole load of money, which they should be spending. There's no reason for them not to spend it. And they actually, in terms of depth, not sure that they've got an outrageous amount of depth right now, but they do have a solid amount of quality there. A nice amount of pace. Good bit of youth in there as well. The academy at Bristol City has really impressed me. And I think that there's some good players there. Cameron Pring I like. Viner I like. Rob Dickey's come in. He was absolutely awful for us last year. But we were awful. So I think in a better team, a team that wants to keep a hold of the ball, I think that will help. And in the centre-back positions, Cal Naismith, Robert Atkinson as well. Really strong in the centre-back position. Cameron Pring, as I said, I like. Midfield is solid. Jason Knight's a good addition for Bristol City as well. And Tommy Conway, I think, is only going to get better. And you've got some experienced pros up top as well if he's not scoring goals. Overall, it's a really good squad. I think they're moving in the right direction. And if they do have Scott, then he's one of those talents. I'll be amazed if he is. But again, if you get the money for him instead, use that money, and surely Bristol City can be knocking in and around the playoffs this year under a solid manager in Nigel Pearson. 7th spot, I've gone with Coventry City. Now I feel a bit shaky, a little bit with this one, because Ellis Sims has come in for a solid chunk of change, and I think it's a good signing. I think he should do well in the Championship. He's young as well, so even if it doesn't work out, you should be able to sell him. But he's not Gyökeres, and he's not at that level yet. So you would imagine they would go backwards a little bit, but Robinson's done such a good job. I can't turn my back on him just yet. And so I think they will miss out, because I also think there is that, I think it's a real thing, that hangover from that playoff final defeat, because they pushed and pushed and pushed and thought they were getting somewhere and it's not worked out. So I think that will hurt them as well. So this could be one that bites me, but I refuse to go against Robbins. He's just been so good. So I trust in him. Ewick has come in, who looks like a really, really good player from all reports that I've seen as well. And you've got a solid group there as well. So I think all that said, I'm going to put them in 7th. Good luck to him. I don't feel confident about it though. 6th spot, Middlesbrough. That's Middlesbrough. Now, the thing about Middlesbrough for me, and they will sneak in the playoffs. I think they will sneak in the playoffs. And hopefully that is with Carrick. But I could imagine it being not as smooth sailing as it has been previously. Akpom, as quickly as he sort of has revealed himself to be an amazing striker who scores loads of goals, he also had Cameron Archer alongside him, which is a lot for defences to deal with. He also took a long time to get to this level. So could he be a one-season wonder? I wouldn't have thought that. But was he running a little bit hot? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I guess hopefully not, right, if you're a Middlesbrough fan. But my gut would suggest that he would drop back a little bit when it comes to those goals. And then look, Seny Dieng coming in, had a tough season last season, but again, everyone did. And he is one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen at QPR. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. So I think that will solve that problem where you've had Lumley and Stefan, who I don't think have done very well for Middlesbrough. And they did create a lot of chances last season under Carrick. You've got McGree in there. You've got Rogers in there as well, who I'm intrigued to see as well. I think they've got enough quality throughout the team and with Carrick and his contacts to get them into the playoffs. But I once again feel like it's not going to be as enjoyable as it was last year, because it did feel like they were on, again, the crest of a wave. Right, I'm going to shock you now. And there is always a shock in the Championship, right? I'm going to go for Stoke City. You are going to laugh at me, and I appreciate it. Feel free. Laugh as much as you want in the comments down below. But there is always one team that flies off into the distance. You go, oh, I didn't really see that coming. And when I was looking through everyone's squad, and I guess you've always done this with Stoke City since they've come down from the Premier League, because they somehow are able to spend loads of money all the time. But this is a good squad that I'm looking at here. You know, Wesley has been terrible for Aston Villa, but you've got yourself a Premier League player that's come down. I mean, and maybe this is his level. He should physically be, you know, up to it. That's his thing, right? Chiquinho from Wolves, I think, is a really solid signing. DiMaggio Wright-Phillips is an exciting player. You've got Jacob Brown, who's good at the level. Dwight Gale's still got something to offer. Tyrese Campbell's got so much to offer. And then in midfield, Lewis Baker, Ender Stevens as a fullback is a really solid signing. Daniel Johnson, I really like. I've always been impressed with him. Ben Pearson as well. Josh Lauren is a solid player in the Championship. And then in defence, like Kiana Hoover, Ben Wilmot. It's a good team. It's a good squad. And, of course, Mark Travers has come from Bournemouth as well. So when I look at that squad, I then look up and go, who's the manager? Alex Neil. Oh, I like Alex Neil. Just something needs to click for the club. Maybe for the fan base. I don't know what. And I know it's been disappointing for several seasons, but I just keep looking at that squad, and I think that's a good squad. So you've got to chuck a rogue shout in there. And I'm chucking a rogue shout in there. Stoke City finishing 5th, baby. Probably wrong. In 4th spot, I'm going with Sunderland. I think they will go again this year. They've got the lowest average age of any club in the Championship this year. But I think that's somewhat misleading, because you've got a lot of players there that have played a lot of football. You've lost the likes of Amad Diallo, Ellis Sims, but you've still got Alex Pritchard, Jack Clark. You've still got Patrick Roberts as well. And again, Jack Clark and Patrick Roberts, 2 young players who've played a lot, have been around a lot, and are really starting to step up, really enjoy the Championship this year. And then the players that have come in, Joe Bellingham is going to be a superstar. You know, Luis Semedo is a really exciting one from Benfica B. Jensen Seelt, I think, is going to do well as well. Mayenda, I haven't got a clue if he's good or not, but I presume he's good, because the scouting seems to be pretty special at Sunderland. And then even someone like Bradley Dack, who struggles to get fit, but Tony Mowbray knows how to get the best out of him. That is a partnership made in footballing heaven. You got a nice amount of steel in there in Corey Evans, Luke O'Nien, Danny Batt as well. So I think all in, it's a good squad. Sirkin as well. Work hard, play hard. Ballard's in there. I like this squad. I think they'll be in the playoffs again. And of course, Ross Stewart's going to be back as well. Time for the top 3 now. And I've gone with Leicester City in 3rd spot. I just look at it at the moment, and they should walk it. They should absolutely walk it. But I actually feel like the sort of age of the squad could do them a little bit of damage. The midfield doesn't feel totally right for me. I think they're going to have a lot of games where they absolutely walk it. Loads of games. But I actually think there might be a little bit more energy and hunger in the top 2 that I've gone for, which is an automatic promotion places will be, and not in any particular order, because I'm going to keep you hanging on a little bit, Southampton and Leeds, or Leeds, Southampton. Who knows which way we're going to go? You'll find out in a second. They should. But the signings that they've brought in are players that... Do you know what it screams to me? It screams to me the last time Leicester City went down, and they had just a really old, sort of gluttonous, like hungerless squad. Like Martin Keown, I think, was playing for them, and they really struggled with it. And maybe I'm just seeing those 2 and I'm connecting that. But even like the likes of Harry Winks, I think, look, he'll keep the ball. But is he really going to change the game for them in this league? Dewsbury Hall, too good for this league in my opinion, but is he a bit too similar to Harry Winks? Maybe not. Maybe he's a bit more box to box. And Didi is a defensive midfielder as well. Maybe Dennis Pratt is going to be the player that does that for you. You know, Pereira, will he still be there? Does he want to be there? Is someone going to pick him up? who's going to get picked up. They might I think they could pump teams 7-8-0, but they might draw a few as well. And I just wonder if it will come unstuck a little bit, because there'll also be, as I've said numerous times on this channel, there's a little FA Cup final tax, and Leicester City will be everyone's FA Cup final this year. Right, top 2, Leeds, Southampton. Southampton, Leeds, they will be the automatic 2. I think 7 of the last 8 teams that have got automatic promotion have come from teams that have gone down. I think that will be exactly the same. I have flip-flopped on this time and time again, and I think it could be really tight between the two of them. I am going to go with Leeds United to win it. I think Southampton are a little bit younger. And this Leeds team, I think what people are forgetting when it comes to this squad is when you put them through the lens of the Championship, you've got so many exciting players that could really, really thrive. You know, start off in the attacking positions. Nonto, if he stays, is going to absolutely destroy the league. Bamford is an England international, just needs to get fit again. Jorginho Rutter shouldn't be in that division, but I think, you know, could absolutely bully people. Joe Gelhardt, I think Sunderland would have happily had him back. Paveda, I think, has still got something to offer as well. Daniel James, Sinisterra, if he stays, is a joke at this level. You know, there's going to be players that leave. Of course there is. But there's so much quality in this team. Archie Gray, I think, has got a lot to offer. Sam Greenwood as well. Lewis Bate. I think Jamie Shackleton comes back from Millwall. He'll be better for that. Cody Drama, exactly the same thing. Ethan Ampadu's come through the door, who's going to be great, be it midfield or as a centre-back. Stuart Dallas is a great player at this level as well. Luke Ayling's been there and done it. Charlie Cresswell scores from set pieces, has been at Millwall last year, so he's got those games under his belt. There's so much quality to be had there. Carl Darlow's come through the door as well, so you've improved in the goalkeeper department, because it does feel like Melia's a little bit shot or needs to move on just to kind of start again. I just think there's so much quality there. It'd be interesting to see if they keep a hold of them. It'd be interesting to see who does make a little lone jump. Southampton, similar thing really. We did this on the Ripple Effect, my Spotify podcast, where we spoke about Southampton actually going backwards could be a sort of one step back to go 2 steps forward, because there's a lot of players here that, again, could absolutely destroy the Championship. Forward line, Onuachu. He's going to become an Achu this season. There's no doubt. Shea Adams has scored several goals at this level. Sekou Mara is a Premier League player in time. Adam Armstrong scored numerous goals at this level as well. Look, James Ward-Prowse you would expect to leave. Lavey you would expect to leave, but that's money that can go back in. Carlos Alcaraz is going to score a lot of goals. He has over 4 shots per game. I think that will continue. Joe Rebo has, you know, dribbling ability, finishing ability, guile. Nathan Teller killed it last year for Burnley. Stuart Armstrong, Shea Charles has come through the door. Ryan Manning's come through the door. Players who have got great delivery. James Bree, great delivery. Will Smallbone, another year at Stoke. And say, like, even the goalkeeper, Bazuna. What a player to have as your goalkeeper. And they're young. They want to go and achieve. And that is why I've put them both above Leicester City this season. But I think Leeds will maybe just have a little bit too much. But I'm right on the line. And I think the next month is obviously integral for every club. But especially those two, in terms of who will kind of go ahead, in terms of who will be able to retain the players that they've got in their squad right now. But I think those two have a much hungrier squad, and I think that could see them finish above Leicester City this season. So there you have it, people. Take it incredibly seriously and get incredibly angry, because my agenda will not cease. The odds are staying up, all right? Hopefully, please. Somehow. I don't know, probably not. But they might do. And we live in hope. That's all we've got. If you want to live in hope, in a world of hope, and you appreciate what we've done here today, then hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your predictions down below. And just, if you're feeling really, really kind, go QPR to stay up. Just write that in the comments. You'll make my day. Love you. Goodbye.